What is a free throw?
In basketball, free throws or foul shots are unopposed attempts to score points from a restricted area on the court, the free throw line.
They are generally awarded after a foul on the shooter by the opposing team. If the free throw is successful, it's worth 1 point.
Classifying a basketball free throw. Is it a gross or fine motor skill?
It can be argued that a free throw fits into both categories as it involves movement of large musculature but also requires precision and hand-eye coordination. However, it should be considered primarily a gross motor skill as almost the whole body is utilized in performing the action. For example, propulsion of the arms as well as bending of the knees is involved in consecutive motion. Is it an open or closed motor skill?
It is a closed motor skill as the environment is stable and there are no external variables such as opponents involved. Is it a discrete or continuous motor skill?
It is a discrete motor skill as a free throw has an identifiable beginning and end point. It begins when the shooter takes aim from the foul line and ends when the basketball is thrown. Gentile's taxonomy.
A basketball free throw can be considered a combination of 3B and 3C as it involves the following criterion. Body stability, as it does not involve whole body transport such as running from one place to another. It involves an object, which is the basketball being thrown. There are stationary regulatory conditions as the body is not in motion whilst the ball is thrown. And there is no inter-trial variability as the external environment remains stable.
Key aspects of the skill include being balanced with your feet shoulder width apart, having your preferred foot slightly in front of the other. The shooting hand should be under the ball while the other hand only acts as a support to guide the ball when shooting. When assessing the skill, it can be measured both qualitatively and quantitatively. Qualitative data can be obtained from an observer making notes on the technique used, while quantitative data can be recorded with figures, for example, how many shots out of 10 were successful. Expected stages of learning.
According to FIT's 3 stages of learning, each week of the program has a different focus which covers the component of the skill. As the individual is a novice learner, in the initial weeks of the program, it is expected that the learner will be in the cognitive stage. This suggests that many gross motor actions will be incorrect through a trial and error process. As the weeks progress, the individual will gain an understanding of the various components of the skill and so will experience associative learning. At the end of the 6-week program, it is expected that at the end of the program, the individual will be able to consistently perform a successful free throw and that the skill will be autonomous.
In week 1, the individual will be learning the basic motor skills such as throwing, dribbling and catching, and holding the ball correctly while maintaining correct stance.
In week 2, the individual will build on the skills learnt in week 1 and will be introduced to throwing the ball upwards into the air to mimic the shooting action, but without using the ring as a target.
In week 3, the individual will start to practice shooting at the ring, but from a closer distance, to ensure the correct technique is used before shooting from the foul line.
In week 4, the individual will be reinforcing the skills learnt in week 3, but shooting will be taken from further back, adding catching and shooting drills.
In week 5, the individual will shoot from the foul line, performing the desired skill. The skill will be repeated to make it autonomous.
In week 6, the individual will perform repeated sprints followed by shooting to stimulate a game-like situation. There will also be the addition of pressure while shooting to again further develop the skill in a game-like environment. Several weeks after the completion of the 6-week training program, a retention test will be conducted to compare the results of made free throws out of 20 to data collected in week 6 of the program. This will indicate how well the individual has retained the information learnt and the ability to perform a successful free throw. This is a quantitative measure as it draws upon numerical data.
A qualitative measure will also be used to determine retention through a subjective analysis of the individual's technique, including stance, body position, and movement. This will be recorded by an observer.